here's my electric drill. Now, I have it in my house. It spends a lot of its time not in my hand while I'm drilling walls or anything else. Most of its time it spends asleep in my toolbox. In fact, if I'm really honest, probably 99% of its time. Because really, I don't actually want an electric drill particularly. It costs me money, takes up space, and as I've just said, most of the time I don't do anything with it. Actually, what I want isn't a drill, it's a hole in the wall. And I'm fairly typical. There are some scary estimates which suggest that most households have an electric or a mechanical drill of some kind, but it rarely gets used. Because actually, what people want isn't a drill, they want a job done. Like me, they want a hole in the wall. Maybe I'm putting up a shelf or trying to hang a picture or something like that. So just occasionally I do need something which will help me make a hole in the wall. But actually the job that I want done is making a hole in the wall. I don't want a drill particularly. And this is a really important principle in innovation. It helps us get to the heart of good value propositions. Thinking not about the thing, what we could do with this wonderful new gadget we just invented, but thinking about the problem. And in particular, what's the job that somebody wants done? Now, in the case of making holes in the wall, if you think about it, the job I want done is a nice, clear, clean hole which doesn't mess up my wall and which will carry the weight of my picture or my shelf or whatever. And I'd like that done simply as possible. Take the pain out of that. I don't see myself as a craftsman, neither does my wife come to that, but essentially I'm not a particularly skilled person, but occasionally I have this job I want done. Now, one solution is to go out to the shop, buy a drill and clumsily do it myself. But as an entrepreneur, you could think of many other ways to get that job done. For example, you could offer a service. Instead of me doing it, I could rent somebody's time, probably for a lot less, have them come in with their drill, which they're using all the time, and make perfect holes for me. That's an innovative opportunity. Or maybe you've come up with a wonderful new adhesive. I don't need a hole and a screw anymore. I can stick my shelf up and magically it will stay supported. Or whatever. It's innovation territory. But a very good place to start is to try and think about the job that people want done. Now this approach, jobs to be done, or as it's sometimes called, outcome-oriented innovation, has been around for a while. Developed by several people, in particular Anthony Ulwick pioneered the approach, and Clayton Christensen made a great deal of use of it in the business he built on the back of his theories around disruptive innovation. Jobs to be done is a really powerful and very simple approach. What's the job that people want done? Clay Christensen gives a great example. He talks about work they did with a famous fast food manufacturer or fast food service company who were trying to understand why there seemed to be a huge spike in the sale of milkshakes around breakfast time. And they thought maybe this was a wonderful feature of their very tasty milkshakes or something else. So they commissioned Christensen and his team to do a bit of research and come up with innovation ideas. They talked to people, and in particular, they talked to a lot of people who used the drive-through service and were buying milkshakes. What they found was that the job that people wanted done was not particularly they wanted a milkshake because that was a perfect thing that would fit what they wanted. They actually wanted something they could do with their hands and would give them some nutrition. A little bit of a treat, something tasty on the way to work. It's time you can't really use with much else. You're driving, but maybe with one hand you could eat a donut. Sticky, messy, you might get jam on your trousers. Or a banana, as Christensen points out. You try eating a banana while you're driving, it's not easy. What they discovered was that the reason people were buying so many milkshakes was that it was the right proportion of thickness. You could suck it, you could put it down safely in the cup holder, up again. You wouldn't drink it down in one gulp, it took time. For lots of different reasons, this was solving a small challenge in their lives. It was a job to be done. Now, the principle is the one we want to hang on to. What are the jobs that people want done? If I take online shopping, for me that's been wonderful because it simplifies the job I want done. Essentially, I need food in my cupboards, I need household cleaners, washing powders and so on. I need things in my house. Now, the way I get that job done, or used to get that job done, was to go shopping. And shopping as an experience is not one I particularly relish, but it involves a lot of different things. The innovation of home delivery, online shopping, has revolutionized my experience in this space. For me, the job I want done, keeping my shelves full, has been simplified. It's a classic piece of pain relief in terms of value proposition. It makes things better. But it's essentially not about the things, it's about the job I want done, which is keeping my cupboards ready stocked. And you can begin to think forward and think, as an entrepreneur, how else might I work with this? And as you probably know, there are many versions now of intelligent cupboards, which take out even the challenge I might have of looking in my cupboards to see what I need, making a list, typing it in and placing the order. This can be automated. So thinking about jobs to be done is a really powerful approach to identifying opportunities which will meet needs, which will represent real value in people's lives. It helps us build strong value propositions. Now, there's lots of ways we can work with this approach of jobs to be done. One of them is to think a little more deeply about the nature of those jobs, because there are different kinds of jobs. What I've described with my holes in the wall, that's primarily a functional job. It does a job. But there may be other things. For example, we buy goods and services because they make us feel good in some way. There's a kind of emotional commitment. When we do something like use a service of just giving, it helps us in the act of giving to charity, giving to others. And that, not least, gives us a sense of value in helping somebody else. There's an emotional element to that. Or take the idea of social jobs, making a social statement. The kind of thing, the clothes we wear, or the car we drive, or whatever, these are ways in which people are expressing a need for some kind of social identity. That's another job they need done. So it's important to start with this concept of jobs to be done to get closer to a real value proposition, something people will value in their lives, but also to recognize there may be different types and combinations of those jobs which people want done. So it's worth another look in terms of our entrepreneurial journey. If we want to get good, strong value propositions, one of the power tools, back to my drill again perhaps, but one of the power tools we can use is jobs to be done.